Hi, Jason.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Yourself?
Not bad, not bad.
So?
I always feel like doing the Howard Stern, get it on. No, I get it on. He does the, hey now. No?
Hey now. I'm not familiar.
No?
No, not
Come on.
at all. I'm really not a Stern guy.
So you're not
I'm from the new school.
new school.
No.
Or, guys who, yeah, that's a super good pod. Start crinkling paper while you're doing stuff.
My bad.
Super smart.
Professional. This is why this is like take two. The first one was a really bad one.
So yeah, no, it's always Stern. It's always hey now. That's the big intro all the time. And then
He says hey now?
yeah, hey now.
Hey now.
And you probably have heard hey now for a lot of different radio guys or different stuff. It's all called to Stern.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So he's the guy who started that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if he started, but he made it.
Radio history.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, but yeah, no, second time up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'll be our first released, but second attempt.
Yeah.
I think our first one could have been good, but I think
The second one could be better.
Let's make some.
No
better.
one will ever have heard that first one.
Oh no! If we got super famous, that first one would be
worth
what
a
we
lot.
release. Yeah, there'll be the special. Hey, this was the first time they were on.
And everybody could just laugh.
So yeah, you were saying something just before we started about. You wanted to mention something about good old Pokemon Go.
I wanted to mention something about Pokemon Go. No, I just don't necessarily understand the appeal of it. I probably don't understand the game, but there's some that like some of it. See, it seems like you have to invest a lot of time into it.
Yeah, I would say I have. I won't lie. I did download it and checked it out.
Okay.
As a kid, just like you, I know you played it. When you
I did.
When you were a 12-year-old kid.
I'd be all over that shit if I was a 12-year-old kid.
Oh, never mind. I was going to go start with that.
Anyways,
but yeah, no. It's not as bad as people saying it is, and I think because it's just the most popular thing, everybody's on that.
Mm-hmm.
People talk more shit about it because everyone has it, and it's that common. But people were using it all playing Candy Crush or those Clash of Wars. And
it's the same people who are just playing games on their phone.
They'd be playing all that stuff anyway, so they're just playing this instead. And this is just a more popular brand that obviously takes off.
Yeah, and I think anything that gets popular, people are going to shit on. Like some people are going to shit on it. People shit on Facebook.
Yeah,
Instagram.
and how many times do people crash their cars being on their cell phone? How many times were they actually playing some stupid game or checking Facebook out? They would have been crashing into shit anyways in the car. If it's not Pokemon, it's something else.
Those are unskilled drivers, sir.
So the game really, it's really essentially it's a Google Map game. You're just walking around. You see yourself walking on the street. It was actually a super detailed map, which actually I'm very surprised about.
Like, is it an animated map, or is it? I'm gonna Google pictures of it because
it's kind of just it's somewhat of an animated map, but it's you walking on your Google Map. Just you don't see the buildings, kind of.
Okay.
So if you just see a picture there, you will see just a little dude.
Put it up on our big screen here.
Oh yeah, the big 42-inch.
That's right. So that's what.
Yeah, so that's where you're walking. So it's all a map, and you're just walking around. And then these little things pop up on the map. Okay. You click them, and then if you look at the picture next to it.
What's that? This here?
No, up on top of the screen.
Okay,
there.
This guy right there.
Click that.
Yeah.
That then pops up, and he's in whatever room or environment you're in. This guy's showing.
Okay, so it's not like these things are appearing on the street or in your house.
They are because that's just a demo picture. So what it would be is it used your camera. It'd be looking through your camera, and you would see your china cabinet or something in the background with this guy standing in front of it. This is just saying as if this guy was outside in the grass. That's what he would just pop up in the field.
Okay, so if you wanted to, you could enable your camera.
It uses your camera. It's augmented reality. It only uses your camera. So this is just like a fake photo.
Oh, okay,
so
gotcha.
You can probably go through and see something else where you see someone actually outside or whatnot.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because I feel like I've seen people post screenshots on Facebook.
Yeah, there's something in their kitchen on their kitchen table. That's what it looks like. Yeah, it just goes to your camera.
Like that.
Yeah. So that guy would just be walking down a pathway or a boulevard or whatnot, and that thing would just pop. He would click it on the map first, and that would just show up in front of his camera, and then you have to throw your little ball at it.
A ball at it. Okay. And is it like fairly quick? You don't have to sit there and like fuck around too much?
Like times where it I guess with this, there's difficulties at one point as the stuff gets harder and better. There's more of a difficulty of, I guess, capturing it.
Yeah, it just seems like whoever's playing this aren't like it's not all little kids who just got all the time in the world during the summer, right? Like there's grown adults doing this stuff, and I don't know. I'm an adult, and I feel like I don't have time to play this. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have time to like sit there. And, like,
well, the only reason why I even had time to even check it out is because I walk my dog an hour and a half every day. I'm like, you know what? I'll see what this is.
Okay.
And I tried it, and whatever. It's done. Like,
it's not that crazy. No.
I got better things to do.
But you can fork out money to make this like.
Well, that's how they make money. Is that you need extra items if you want to catch more. You need so many balls to catch them, and if you use them up too fast, you got to go buy some, and then you can also get stuff to attract more of them towards you.
Okay, because I saw somebody on my Instagram today. He said that like I don't know. He posted a shot and it was all eggs.
Yep.
Is that?
Yep.
That's the same game, right?
Well, yeah. So that one is you can either catch them or you can like hatch them. So the hatching works at it checks out how many steps you take, and if the more steps you take, or these eggs need 5 kilometers of walking to be hatched. So it's making people actually have to move, and it actually will realize if you're going too fast. If you're in your car, it won't track that distance.
Well, kind of like all they do with your phone. Like if you're going for a run, your fitness tracker says that you're doing steps or whatever. But if you're in a car, it doesn't track it.
So that's
oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
no, and it's kind of crazy that like where it's going though. That whole term, augmented reality. That's kind of.
But it's the thing that's kind of neat I find about it is that and there's examples of it. People actually using it to make money. Businesses using this idea, because some businesses will end up being near these things called polka spots or gyms. Essentially, everyone will see that, and you can there's these items called like lures where you can attract more Pokemon to that area, and anyone who comes by can use it. And some businesses have figured out, hey, we're going to spend $1.50 every half hour, have all the stuff here, and if it's like a little coffee shop or whatever, kids and teenagers are going to be coming nonstop because they know they're going to have stuff. They'll be able to catch
a corner store or something like that.
Great idea. Actually, it's actually kind of a smart idea.
I heard them talking about this on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was they kind of were saying that certain businesses had started doing that and it's like I guess some unofficial. It's not really an official kind of promotion thing, but I could just imagine it even being part of a campaign. Right? You go online, you say like, oh, come down here and drop this much money, and we'll drop this many lures.
Well, even like a lure lasts is supposed to be half an hour.
Okay.
So it costs you, let's say, $1.50. A company can put 10 of them down. Takes 5 hours. They spent all of
$15.
$15. One person buys 1 coffee, 2 coffees, 3 coffees. Like you're within 5 hours, you can easily make that money back and then some. And it's just
well, especially with the amount, like if you're not capitalizing on the popularity of it right now, like if it falls off and there's nobody playing it anymore, then I mean. 6 months from now, I could just see that being the thing. We still play Pokemon Go, dropping lures in front of your business. The fuck is wrong with you, man?
Yeah, but hey, I'm surprised how like some people have actually saw the opportunity to do it and kind of smart. Eh?
So that's it's kind of playing on. We were talking about that the augmented reality thing, and that's I guess a new thing that you can do with your phone now, where it like superimposes stuff.
Yeah, so that one you're looking at is kind of like you see like your hotspots or whatnot, or your different your points of interest that would be on Google Maps instead. It would be on your kind of your camera, almost like a street view.
Crazy how like I was talking with my wife about that the other day about how crazy it is where we are now, where we're like superimposing things onto screens in front of us, almost like they're actually there in front of us, and there's people who are still alive who don't remember or can still remember not having television.
There's still people who don't understand that the first down line on the field on the football game on TV isn't actually there.
Isn't.
They don't realize that orange line is superimposed. So let alone this.
There's your augmented reality. It's crazy though. Like that.
I've heard that asked. How do they put the line down all the time? And like it's no one's stepping on it and whatever.
TV magic. Oh my god! It disappeared.
It moved
so quickly retracted. No, it is kind of insane. And to think, like, right now we're looking at this stuff through a phone, right? Yep. And it's, I guess it's just the most common thing that everybody's carrying with them. But as soon as we stop carrying around phones to communicate, like what's the next step? I guess...
Would be Google Glasses type of thing?
But that seemed to have, like, kind of had its moment.
Fizzled right out, yeah.
Fizzled out. Maybe it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, maybe just
technology wasn't good enough to catch on.
Well, even like virtual reality now is making a comeback. You see stuff like these Sony
so clunky,
stuff.
Though.
It looks clunky, but remember the old stuff where you'd be in that whole contraption with that huge helmet on. That's the thing with that stuff was around
long time ago,
mid-90s.
Yeah, but I still don't see people walking around with those big, massive, clunky.
Well, first of all, you wouldn't be able to see anything, but no, but like it's. I'm just saying is that's now finally making a comeback and actually is usable and wearable for like some type of game playing, where 20 years ago it was a fad and you would see it at a Palladium type of thing. Just you try it then. Next to that, it wasn't usable. It wasn't actually there's no businesses investing money in it really. Now you have guys like Sony investing in it.
So
Steam,
you think it's just gonna like get way better? And I guess that's kind of the first frontier of it, right? Is gaming. Mm-hmm. Gaming, like people aren't gonna use this shit just to, I guess.
Well,
they're not gonna use it outside.
What made DVD actually work or become popular? What was the industry that pushed for that?
DVD? Don't know.
Porn. Porn.
Pornography.
And who?
Okay, now we're seriously lifting a lot of topics from the Joe Rogan podcast. I've been listening to that like very.
Well, I have no idea. I don't
listen. Full disclosure. No, virtual reality porn. That's crazy. That's what drove DVDs. Why? Why DVDs?
Because you were able to hold more information on it than you could on a VHS or Betamax.
More scenes.
You can have more scenes. You
can skip back and forth.
Different stuff, I guess. Pause it better. It doesn't have the weird tracking, like weird stuff. So
tracking.
But that's what pushed that. There's now dedicated channels on some of these adult websites, which are just virtual reality for these type of goggles. You can pull that up if you want to, but but no, and
we're gonna attempt to put this on YouTube.
So these things, these are that industry has been known to push some of these things in one direction, into the winning direction. Look at, I believe they were on the Blu-ray bandwagon between Blu-ray and HD
and
DVD.
When they put their put all their eggs in the Blu-ray basket. The
because
HD DVD was gone.
Yeah, had Microsoft and a few other people on HD DVD, and then you had Apple, Sony, and Vivid on the one side,
and then all of that died as soon as streaming.
Yeah, which I think that's also why it took a while to actually catch on.
Anymore.
Yeah, I think that's why it took so long to catch on, because streaming and some of these digital copies. Better quality or just as good. As soon as they and no physical copies.
Exactly. And as soon as you could get a good enough internet connection to stream things reliably, and the services. I always said that as soon as they gave as a good service existed, not for porn, but for I don't watch porn, Jay.
Hey,
a friend of mine does. Friend of mine,
a buddy.
No, for movies, there was always people downloading like torrents and that kind of stuff, and I always felt like that was such a pain in the ass, and I would gladly be willing to pay for reliable, quick, easy streaming. And what they've basically done is they've replicated like the whole Blockbuster video experience now through Apple, like the whatever iTunes store, and Netflix, and you just basically browse through that.
But don't you kind of miss that whole Blockbuster movie house type of experience?
I miss jumbo video with just popcorn.
But just remember, like, it wasn't just going to get a movie. It was an event. Okay, we're going to go, like, you brought a girl over. You guys going to watch a movie that night on Friday night, Saturday night.
I didn't bring any girls over.
All right, so you brought your friend, your buddy. You and your buddy. So okay, let's go. We're gonna go get a movie. And all right, and that was part of the event. Part of the night was going to Blockbuster, going through the new release aisle. You would meet everyone there.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're staying in. Oh, us too, obviously.
Way more social.
Yeah, and now that's gone. That was kind of an interesting little, I don't know, like world that you would just meet people.
It's true that you're getting like everybody's getting sectioned off into their own little houses now, and I know they're trying to like attempt to maintain that kind of social aspect of it by saying, "Oh, you're watching this movie, rate it, share it share your whatever on Facebook. You're still in your house, and you're not making that. It's not the same. It's not the same. And as much as like." But who knows? Maybe we're just sounding like old people right now. But I feel like
you are getting old. The hairline keeps moving.
That's a straight tell right there. As I think it's kind of a shame that like my kids won't get to do that, right?
Well,
they'll find new and better ways to.
Yeah, they'll have their avatars to have sex with, and they'll have other things to do.
Dad, leave me alone. I'm going to my room.
Will it be weird to share the avatar? Or to use your son's avatar? Would that be awkward?
It would not. It won't be awkward because it won't happen.
I don't know.
You got to draw the line somewhere.
Hey.
Dad, I get the VR between this time and this time. I know what you do with the VR.
Stop using my files. Christine's mine. Leave her alone.
No, but okay. This is the last topic that I'm going to poach from somebody else's podcast. But that's a really that's an interesting topic though. Is that like virtual sex is is just becoming so much more like real sex, right? Like there's so much more of that, I guess, connection with whatever video that you're watching or whatever. And I guess like people have been speculating about like what kind of problems is that going to cause in people's like traditional relationships, right? If like all you want to do is bang your avatar and not your wife, right? Like like what's fidelity? What's infidelity, right?
Well, they were like Terry Crews.
That would be some pretty funny kind of. I think that would be a pretty funny problem.
Well, there's a story out about Terry Crews. Terry Crews said he has a porn addiction, and it's literally like he didn't want to do anything else but just stay at home and look at porn and not have. He didn't want to have sex with his wife, whatever. Just stay at home and.
Terry Crews, as in like the big Jack dude. There?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. President, whatever.
Yeah. Camacho.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Cheeseburger Eddie.
Yeah.
All the great characters. But yeah, no, he had, like, and that's, that dude is literally a G.I. Joe. And he could have, essentially been of anyone he wanted to. If he wanted to be unfaithful, but he just wants to stay home and watch porn.
But I wonder why. I wonder what kind of causes that mental kind of addiction to sit at home and click.
I don't know. Remember trying to hide magazines at your house when you were a kid? That was tough. Now it's just everywhere, and you don't have to hide anything. It's fun.
You don't have to hide anything? Well, I guess it's not really... I guess the stigma hasn't really gone away, though, right?
No.
Like, you still have to hide it, but it is everywhere.
Yeah.
It is. It's everywhere, available all the time. Like, you wonder how it's not more prevalent. Or, maybe it is, right? I would assume that it's probably not the easiest statistics to gather, right?
Well, you can find, like, stuff online of you'll see these old dudes checking out like porn on their phone or like on a bus, stuff like that. And
that's
hilarious.
Weird.
Hilarious.
Like you would tend to think that an older generation would have more of a sensitivity to
old dudes.
When
old dudes don't give a shit about anything.
That's very
which
true.
Is awesome. They
You're
don't
excited
care
to be an old dude for that.
They don't care if they stink. They don't care what they're wearing.
They don't care if they make inappropriate comments to young ladies
or ethnic minorities. They say whatever they want.
Anything. It's horrible. Well, I mean, it's got to be strangely liberating, but they're probably losing their shit, eh? Just like they're losing their mind.
I bet you some of them just
say crazy fucking.
Do you think anyone realize what's going on? They're like, this is hilarious, and they just laugh about it afterwards. Like, I can say whatever I want. No one says a word. It'd be awesome if you were. I
wouldn't be surprised if there's
must be someone.
Some of them
are all with it.
They still got their head in order, and they're fucking just playing us all for fools. I'm having another beer.
Sure, I'll take another.
All right. Same thing,
or whatever you want to give me. So yeah, all right. So we went from Pokemon Go to virtual reality porn. So all right, we can shift gears and go to something else if you like.
Sure.
Awesome, great pod. Hit the metal things with the bottle.
Well, what can I say? My etiquette's not that great. It's only going to get worse.
So I don't know. I see. I have a couple things I popped up that I thought maybe that might lend to a good conversation.
Sure.
One of it was a bit local. There was one of the articles in the local paper was a cop killer may get full parole. Ooh. So there was back in 1984. There was a man, Greg. I'm not gonna say the name. Actually, well, it's in the article. It's a news article, but whatever. Some dude, I guess, got an altercation and murdered a police officer. Okay. So people are all up in arms saying this guy is might. Right now he was denied parole, but the parole board wants to speak to him to see what. If he's getting to the point where we can talk about parole, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So if you pulled it up, it's Dilly Press. So this guy is, there you go. Boom. So people are all upset that this guy might get parole. This happened, he was sentenced in 1984. So we're looking at 32 years of sentencing.
Okay, so he served 32 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's your thought? Everyone says this guy should rot in jail and die in jail. Should he be allowed? First of all, a life sentence? Mm-hmm. Is that the 25-year life sentence? Is that life as in you're in there for life? And
well, has he appealed his sentence? Is it like we have an appeal system for that? Right?
Yeah. And hey, what's been going on since? Convicted?
Like there's my how I officially feel about Law and Order reaction, and then there's how I think that maybe we could have reforms to our legal system, and that's a whole other discussion that's larger than one case, right? But in a case like this, I mean, we have an appeal system, we have laws, and we got to respect them. And if the idea is that that this guy was sentenced to life in prison, then, I mean, he killed somebody. I really don't know the specifics of this particular case, but what I'm seeing here is with a 12-gauge shotgun
into a restaurant.
Yeah, fired a single shot at the cop. Okay, so you just walked in and shot him.
Yeah,
this wasn't
wasn't like vehicle homicide or something or manslaughter.
Yeah. Like he this was premeditated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but
well, I mean, there's I don't know. I've heard some really good discussions lately about free will and how people and do you know who Sam Harris is?
Do you know?
No. Okay, a neuroscientist, and I read one of his books this summer, and I've been just.
First of all, I don't read. There's things called TV and movies and internet. And I don't read anything.
You don't read anything. No, super interesting guy. Talks a lot about ethics, morality, and our own actual ability to influence our own decisions. The more his position, anyways, is the more we start to understand about the brain, the more we realize how we're basically a product of our environment in every instance. Mm-hmm. And everything, when you really get right down to it, you can almost absolve anyone of any real free will decision on anything. Mm-hmm. And people who kind of are against that position have argued that it's really not constructive to absolve everyone of everything in every moment, because then you're somebody, you could just go out and kill somebody and be like, well, it's because I didn't have enough breakfast that morning, so my internal biology made me susceptible to the influence of whatever.
There's the Twinkie defense. Have you heard about that?
No.
There's actually a thing.
Okay, what's that?
Someone's blood sugar was too. Someone did murder their spouse or whatever, and their excuse was that their sugar was too low, and they did not know what they were doing. They were diabetic, and they went out and murdered their spouse.
And because temporary insanity.
Well, no, their lawyer attempted to argue the fact that their sugar was too low, and this is not their fault.
Please tell me unsuccessfully.
I believe it's unsuccessfully, but it's been known as the
Twinkie
defense.
See, and you know what? That there's probably some merit in the concept of that, meaning that we're always just interacting with the environment around us, and what leads us to making decisions is nothing but neurons going off in our head, right? So a guy like Sam Harris's argument is that there's not actually a little person in our head living there making decisions for us to do shit. We're just always interacting with our environment, and if you would have ate something different, or if you would have been living somewhere differently or talking to somebody differently in a given moment, you could have potentially made a different decision and gone left instead of right. And it's in that case, if nobody is actually their own kind of like independent agent, then there's really nobody actually makes decisions. So why should we throw somebody in jail? But there's like the whole society implications of that aren't really practical.
Yeah, well, so let's look past the fact that doing it is it your fault or not. Let's look. My question or my real thought is, what is jail in our penal system meant to do? Is it for rehabilitation? Is it to get people back in society as a functional member of society?
Fair enough.
And the argument is, 30 years in jail, has he been rehabilitated? Or do we say, too bad, for certain acts that are so egregious, we don't let them out?
We don't rehabilitate certain acts.
Yeah. And is that right? Should we, no matter what, be trying to rehabilitate anyone or everyone?
Well, I think again, that's probably speaking a little bit outside of my expertise, but if I'm going to offer an opinion on that, I would say that we'd have to maybe inquire about this with people who study this stuff and are able to kind of identify.
I don't want facts. I want opinions.
What's
your gut feeling on this?
But my gut feeling would say that there are certain people who we cannot rehabilitate. So to say a blanket statement that we're going to rehabilitate everybody, and that's the whole point of every function of our
legal system, penal system.
No, I would say no. But to degrees, to say that we should be incarcerating as many people as we are now, for the length of time we are now, in general, no. For this particular instance, this sounds like a case of somebody, like just on the surface, it sounds like the case of somebody who premeditated something, and just the fact that he's disposed to premeditating killing another human being, is a pretty, that's got to be a marker of some kind of psychological trait. So obviously it need to be evaluated. And
so my thought is, all right, so we're saying that there's certain actions that will not lend to being rehabilitated. So Too bad we put him in jail forever.
Okay.
So then is there another question there, and does that bring up the fact that why do we spend money on these people living forever if we're going to leave them in jail forever because they cannot be rehabilitated? Should there be corporal punishment? And so,
like death penalty.
Death penalty, yeah. So should that be brought in?
We have to house these people.
Yeah, the house people, and they can't be rehabilitated. We decided that these people are not fixable. Or are we attempting to fix these people and get them back to society in some shape or form? And it might be after 25 years to take away their right of being free.
Well, that's the ultimate, gray area subject, right? No, because if you're going to argue for a death penalty, you have to start off from the premise. If you're going to argue for a death penalty, regardless of the situation, okay, regardless of what comes after that and what you argue, these are the circumstances under which a death penalty is appropriate. You have to start from the premise that it is okay to take a human's life. That and without that person being a direct threat to you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's okay to kill another person without being under the either real or perceived threat of being, if I'm going to quote stand your ground laws, real or perceived threat of your life being in danger.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would consider myself somebody who doesn't prescribe to that notion that I don't think it's okay to take somebody's life unless that person is trying to take mine.
Okay, well, my question or argument is that wouldn't that be we'll stick a bit of some of the legal terms, but like wouldn't keeping someone in jail and taking away that right of freedom forever, indefinitely, is that a form of cruel and unusual punishment? Because you're keeping these people away from society, away from interaction. So hey, should they be in solitary the whole time? So we're taking these people away from people. We're not giving them the ability to get better. We're not giving them the required medical attention and psychological attention that might be able to improve them and get them back into a working society and function.
Well, might I say, Jason, that these devil's advocate skills of yours are going to get people tuning into this podcast like you would not believe.
And they will hate me. That guy.
That fucking guy. Why does he not ever stop asking questions? Yes, but... No.
Yes, and it's good improvisational skills.
Yes,
I'd be good in the growlings.
He's been watching a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway? But in this particular case, I don't know. That's a really good question, and I would say the debate has to roll on that. Like it's something that I don't think we're ever really going to master on that front.
Search this up.
What's that?
I got another story for you.
You got another story for me? Jeez.
Yeah.
Content provider. What's it called?
Well, take a little read. Just pull it up. So this just came out. I saw this release, and I heard this on the CBC, the government-provided news network, about a...
This is Daily Press article?
Yes.
Okay.
We're giving free ads and free publicity
to the
Daily Press.
Hit us up.
The Northern Separatist Party looking to gain support. This is interesting.
Goodness.
First of all, I don't know this guy.
Trevor Holiday for calendar.
I don't know this individual.
I'm saying his name because he put himself out there.
He obviously
blanked out.
That is the funniest thing I see on this, and I can't stop laughing about the paint.
Some local
tools.
business that wants nothing to do with this guy.
So I don't know this. Whatever this is, Right Equip or something, or Tormont don't want their logo to be put onto this. Makes me just that can't make it. Regardless of what you think of whatever else about the photo, that is the funniest part of the photo.
Yeah,
and
that is funny.
I don't even know what he stands for. I just think he's got my vote. It's you're going to use paint in that in that fashion.
Okay, I gotta read.
And is he on a bus?
It looks like it. He might be driving a bus.
Maybe.
Why is he taking
that
selfies?
Might be it. I think I see a handle of a seat behind him, so he might be a bus driver.
If he's driving a bus, he should not be taking pictures.
Good man.
Anyways,
is he driving or is he parked? That's the question.
While a decades-old separatist party has been recently revived with a new name and new leader, its platform remains the same, giving the people of Northern Ontario a voice at Queen's Park. Trevor Holiday of North Bay has been voted in as the official party leader for the newly rebranded Northern Ontario Party early this year.
Nope. That's the abbreviation of it. Nope.
Nope.
First of all,
it's
strike one.
Yeah. Nope. That's good. That's actually pretty funny. Earlier this year, Holiday launched an online petition calling for Northern Ontario to become its own province. When more than 4,000 supporters backed his position, he decided to take things one step further and register the Nope with Elections Ontario at the end of last month. Okay, I'm laughing, but only because I think it's ridiculous.
We might be on the same page on this issue. Like usually we are kind of we are differing perspective. I might have a different reasoning why.
I get too much of a Tea Party vibe here from this kind of stuff, and you know what? And I'm not saying that from a sense of like. I'm not trying to say that there's any kind of like racism or
but there is
classism or anything like that. No, what I'm seeing here, or what I'm getting a vibe from on this, is that these are people with unrealistic expectations and not really a good understanding of not necessarily how things work, because things don't have to work the way they work all the time, but don't have a good understanding of the facts or the current situation. But I'm saying that that's a complete presumption. I have not listened to any of this stuff, but I'm just getting that kind of vibe and feeling. So you read the article,
yep,
right? And
so essentially, one part of the article, one part of so they want to separate. One of their party issues or political issues is essentially raw resources extracted from the area should be produced and refined in the area, which, you know, that's an argument to be had. It kind of flies in the face of some other type of theories. Okay. And it's also kind of just better representation. He wants better representation within the area for Northern Ontario. And their idea is that if they got all 11 ridings across the north, they'd be a political force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
Here's the issue I see with this.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to take a stand. I think this is... I'm not going to be devil's advocate. I will say what I agree or don't agree with.
Okay, sure.
I don't agree. This is a way to go. One reason is, first of all, getting all 11 seats, kind of tough. You get all 11 seats. You are now, no matter what, you would be a minority party. Do you have the ability to call for a referendum to even get a seat? Or get a vote to separate? If you do, or if you don't, let's say you get all 11 seats and you're in Parliament, or whatever, the legislature, you are automatically a minority party. You have to hope it's a minority government, so you can maybe be that balance of power if someone else doesn't take it. And first of all, all right, let's close off the borders. Let's become our own separate entity so we can keep everything here. We are a very small population,
exactly,
with infrastructure being spread across such a large area. It is tough, and a lot of people like say, "Oh, the money made in this area in Northern Ontario outweighs what we receive from
Christ,
no, we receive much more from Southern Ontario than we put in." Mm-hmm. So,
just population-wise, like the amount of money that comes from the province. There's no way. I think a lot of people like to think that. They like to think that. And, it's not to say that the North doesn't make its contributions to the province. We absolutely do. Like power generation.
The mines. Mining, they make much money. But
of course.
What do you think makes more money? Mining or the banking services in Central Ontario? It's not even a crazy amount of money. And
that could be a problem in itself. That's another discussion. Talking about how much banks are part of the economy now, but it's the reality of what we live in. And I, as much as I can sympathize with somebody who feels alienated in Northern Ontario from our current government in Southern Ontario, I really don't see that as being the solution. I think it's getting effective voices.
Yeah, effective voices, and people. I do think if you have a party, let's say the current party who's kind of controlling, who's representing most of the North. There's one party NEP. Right now, it's NEP. You say liberal, you can say whatever else. Okay, I think the best way for the North to get a voice, first of all, is have a party that be a party that has a possibility to be in power. That would be, and I would say any of the big three. The fringe groups, unfortunately,
the Nope is not going to have
enough representation.
Breeding the next premier,
especially when
not anytime soon.
You're only going to have it in 11 ridings and no other ridings, so that makes it kind of difficult. the best way to do it is have one of these parties that can win. And if you have 11 seats that are representing the entire North, if you have a majority government which is only ahead by 10 seats or 11 seats, that northern bloc, that northern caucus, has extreme power at that point, because their voice or dissension or whatever can lead to much more policy being made that would benefit Northern Ontario or rural ridings.
Yeah, but I still like. I think people are kind of falling into this trap, and I don't know. I'm going to try not to sound like a conspiracy theorist right now, but this idea that we're Northern Ontarians and we're fighting Southern Ontarians, like don't get me wrong. I'm not like. I do think we're different in certain ways, and the lifestyle is different, and the attitude towards certain things is different, but there's still like people just like us, and they're Ontarians just like us, and the idea that we're going to try to formulate this kind of strategy to take back what's ours because we've been systematically abused and blah blah blah, like the problem is not the people of Southern Ontario not what's the end goal for a political party like this? Is it to have policies that are beneficial to the people of the North and detrimental to the people of the South?
Yep.
No. And
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And maybe I have a hard time disagreeing with the fact that maybe current policies have been detrimental to people of Northern Ontario, but I have a hard time necessarily saying that they've been extremely beneficial to people of Southern Ontario.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
and they haven't been made for the strict reason to alienate or benefit one over the other. They've been saying, "Hey, we're doing this because of this reason." I don't agree with a lot. I think there are
ideological reasons. Like our current liberal government, I think it's got an ideological standpoint that it's clinging to. Yep. And
is it wrong? Is it right? That's
it depends
debate.
Where you fall in the spectrum, right? And if it matches your ideology, then of course you're going to think they're making all the right moves. I think there's a lot of people around here that don't necessarily subscribe to an ideology, and they just see the negative effects that it has on their lives and automatically oppose it. I don't disagree. I don't necessarily think that that there's no gain without pain, right? Sometimes you do need some pain, but when you feel like you're the only people feeling the pain, and for some reason you feel like other people in other parts of the province aren't feeling that pain, it's easy to fall into one of these situations where you're like, well, we're going to separate and we're just going to manage ourselves and we're going to live in our own little community and blah, blah, blah. And, when we run out of money, we'll figure something out.
Well, I find the thing interesting about this, it seems to be a larger, I'll say movement or larger trend. You're seeing a lot more of this isolationist, protectionist type of ideologies. You look at the states with, good old Trump. We're going to close the border. We're going to get rid of all these free trade deals. We're going to do everything in-house. You're seeing this, just pushing across the board, getting rid of trade deals, which, you can argue don't benefit in whatever direction you want to go in, depending what industry you want to. But you're seeing a lot of, and you look in Europe, close the borders, Brexit, all this stuff. It's this new isolationist idea. Like, why is this happening? Is this a backlash to something? Like, what is this in response to? Like, it just seems.
Well, I think that people who are traditionally placed on the left would say that this is a reaction to the rhetoric of right-wing politicians. I think people who say that aren't giving people who subscribe to these kind of policies like the Brexit and that, they're not giving them enough credit or for their own depth of thought and ability to kind of reason. Sure, there's all those memes and people we've seen videos of online that don't know what the fuck Brexit was, and people were they voted for it and then they didn't know that you see that kind of shit. But I think overall the general population, call me naive, but I feel like they have a little bit more intuition than that and can okay, there's a big vote coming up, I'll get informed and I'll make a decision based on what I've
what's
learned.
What's this current push and this trend of moving to this isolationist side, which isolationist policies have been proven to be very short-sighted and very bad
and detrimental. Absolutely. And I think it might be the pendulum swinging, right? Like I think what ends up happening is that you might swing to one side too much, and then you end up with
it's a correction going to the other direction.
Yeah, and it's an overcorrection, right? Or at least it might seem like an overcorrection. I've always said this, that we elect governments and we just kind of sway from a middle line and we go back and forth. And sometimes we sway pretty far and then we sway pretty far the other way. But we're always moving in the same direction. And what seems to be a constant is things like, progress and, for a good portion of history, a rising standard of living overall in the world. That to me would be a bigger concern, right? Is the idea that we've always been kind of moving right and left, but we're always kind of going upwards.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas now it seems like that upward trend is kind of leveling off, and maybe it's fueling more back and forth because everybody sees this, right? The plateauing of standard of living, wages, things like that, and people got different solutions, and the solutions have to be more and more extreme the more the problem becomes apparent, right? Yeah. So maybe that's what's going on. Right? People feel more and more desperate, so they cling to more and more extreme ideologies and policies. I don't know. It's a sign of the times, I guess.
I don't know. It seems like it's, and maybe it's just my naivete. Naivete.
Naivete.
Those
are difficult words.
Yeah, you're asking the Frenchman to pronounce the stuff. The two of us, I don't think are the best linguists in the area.
No,
anyways,
not at all.
It just seems scary. Just the idea that there's this huge push, and unfortunately, because of this isolation stuff, you then have, these. It's not that this lends to certain type of people, like bigots or racist people, but I think that those policies have always been within those type of groups. They've always been isolationists, so a lot of people connect that to the two. That's not that meaning that people who want these type policies are bigots, racists, whatever not. I just think that unfortunately there is a connection, or not a connection, but there's a relation there. So people get afraid by it, and I think that's why I get kind of nervous. It's like, oh dear Lord, like this is what someone who would be a card-carrying clan member would be into. So kind of it freaks you out.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to say, though, because that's really an important thing to realize, because as these things get more and more extreme and people more or less start to pick sides, I think it's important to realize that people can make certain points or hold certain beliefs or push toward, how can I say it, like push more towards an ideology that you might not necessarily agree with, and not subscribe to everything that the same people are saying. Like, I could say the same thing as Donald Trump said today and not necessarily be Donald Trump.
All right, so you're saying you can say the same thing that Donald Trump said today. So
what did he say today?
Today he said...
Oh, please entertain us with this.
Today, Donald Trump... And so we just go back and forth on issues, which is awesome, and this is what this
That's fine. That's what you can expect from this.
Yes. So his quote is, Hillary wants to abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe... There is, I don't know. So, he's saying
what?
Nothing you can do.
Exactly the word.
But you Second Amendment people, maybe there's something you can do. So you people all about gun rights, maybe there's something you can do. So, the argument is he literally calling
for somebody to shoot Hillary
for these people to deal, which is insane. And, it's insane how this guy has,
How is he even like? Is
How
he even
is-
saying words anymore?
What-
Like,
I got to say, luckily, right now in the polls, he's more than 10 points behind, which is the biggest gap there's ever been.
yeah.
Like, even the trouncing that Romney
See-
and McCain got were only 3 points
See,
behind.
some part of me, because okay, Donald Trump's a grade A moron. Well, okay, you know what? He is the Republican nominee for president, so there's got to be some kind of genius going on in there.
Something.
Mad
He
genius
figures,
of
he
some
figures
kind.
something out.
Yeah,
Some type of savant of some
exactly.
sort.
He was able to tap into something. And anyways, he says shit that just fucking crazy. Hillary Clinton's no saint. I think this is going to be the most cynical election that the States has had in my lifetime, anyways. And it's going to be entertaining to watch as a Canadian.
Scary to watch.
Yeah, it'll be scary to watch because, like, I think that either candidate is, but it's never. I think either candidate in many elections have never been. They've never really promised, or they've promised a lot and never really done much.
Delivered,
It's never
yeah.
like a lot of people will consider the Obama presidency a huge disappointment because there was a huge level of expectation and really not an insane amount. But what I'm saying is that it's and again, trying not to sound like a conspiracy theorist. It would really, really be the best satisfaction ever if we found out somewhere down the line 40, 50, 60 years ago that there was a secret agreement
Between the two
that they were going to make Hillary Clinton president by somehow getting Donald Trump
by a default vote.
Oh, like
She gets-
just
Hey.
him just throwing the whole thing.
What I can't understand is this huge backlash against Clinton. Okay, we're saying when we talk about Benghazi, how much does the Secretary of State really have to do with the policy with stuff with Benghazi?
No.
And then we talk about email stuff.
There's
All right,
lies.
it has personal email server. Let's talk. Or there's a talk of maybe being stupid of holding on to confidential stuff. Which, all right, that's going to be an issue. But is it, is this is the worst candidate ever? This person has insane credentials, and whatever, Yale or Harvard freaking graduate,
But
super intelligent.
She is still 100%,
has been in the
100% the embodiment of the status quo.
yeah. That's the thing. Status quo. She is a status quo, and
If people who believe there's a problem in politics, which it appears that much of the world thinks there is.
well, at least a portion of the Republican base believes so right now.
The Republican base and the Democratic base. Like, look at all the support Bernie Sanders got,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I could see, it would be what was it? I read an article by Chris Hedges not long ago, and he was talking about how Bernie Sanders, what he should have done instead of endorsed Clinton, was to walk out of the Democratic convention and start a third party. And he would have been able to, the argument being that he would have split the vote.
Yeah, he would have gave it to the Republican.
But
Because
it almost seems like he could have tapped into that frustration too. What you know what where the split is not on the Democratic side. Where the split is among
moderates,
the frustrated American vote, and half went to Donald Trump and half went to Bernie Sanders, and which is insane to think, right? Because you think they're like completely opposite sides of the spectrum, but they're all dealing, like, the people who are supporting these people are frustrated Americans. They're just sick and tired of the status quo, and what are they going to get? What is everybody going to get? Hillary Clinton, the status quo.
Yeah. But
she's not, like, again, not going to blow up the world like Donald Trump might, but she's 100% the status quo and 100% what people don't want.
well, what some people don't. Well, 1% of the population.
A good percentage don't want. If you count all the people who will, like, I have a feeling this is going to be the lowest turnout. Like,
But who wins elections? So right now, it's people who vote, voters, people who actually go out. And unfortunately, a lot of these, this is my personal belief, a lot of these people who are these, obviously fly by night political activists who just, are really into this one thing right now,
They don't
come out and vote.
Really?
And if people who are these loud descendants, say that right? Anyway, dissidents. Descendants would be a completely different thing. Dissidents come
Great
out.
band.
They tend to just lose out. All these people who are going out to these Trump rallies and all that, they're not all going to vote. They're going to go out and say, yell. Then when it comes time to vote, they're just going to sit around and do nothing. Look at every election. Sit
on their hands? Yeah.
Look at every election. You hear people bitch about anything. Local,
turnout,
provincial. Yeah. They will bitch about, oh, we got to do this, got to do that. And then when it comes to votes, like, oh, well, I was kind of busy. I had something to do. Like, you had a family barbecue. Like, you can go to the local church or the local school that is holding the vote. Yeah. It takes literally 5 minutes. Drives me nuts.
People really do need to vote. Like, that's so fucked up.
I ran for municipal freaking politics, and I had family members who couldn't make it out to vote because of whatever reason.
You know what? Even if you were, and I guess this is why I would prefer to have, like, that's why I like having, living in Canada, we don't have a two-party system. We have, like,
multi, yeah.
And you can even go vote and register your vote as a protest vote.
Yeah.
Vote for a party that's not going to win.
Yep.
You know, if you think all the parties are fucked, then, you know, vote your conscience.
Yeah.
Your conscience. And at least, though, demonstrate that. Because what happens at the very, like, I don't know, like, you're probably more in tune with this, having worked with Gilles and Charlie.
Yeah.
Like, would they tell you that how you get shit done or how you exert your influence is you have to demonstrate that this is what the people want? So, like, does it make a difference when somebody calls their MP or their MPP or sends letters if enough people do that?
Well, I think one thing, I'm not sure if I'm going to answer exactly what you want me to answer, but one thing I'll give an example is Bisson, and this came up in the last election. It was brought up by one of his competitors.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I got the beer burps.
You want another one?
Might as well. So one of the things was, he signed on a letter saying that these people wanted to get rid of the spring bear hunt. Enough of these people had signed a petition. They brought it to him, and it was enough. You know, it was X amount of hundreds of people who voted. We want to get rid of the spring bear hunt for whatever social or ecological issues there were. Sure. And he brought it up. He's put his name on it and saying that I'll bring it to Queen's Park. I will bring your voice and your issue to Queen's Park. He brought it. He voted against the spring bear hunt, but he brought it and he said, I support what these people. I support the bringing this forward.
Sorry, he voted against the spring.
Yeah, he didn't want the spring bear hunt, the elimination of spring bear hunt. Sorry.
Okay, he didn't voted against the elimination.
As far as I recall, and this is just me trying to recall the facts. Yeah, so
facts. We want opinions.
What is that? So, but he brought in this. He is a northerner at heart, outdoors guy, all this stuff, hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And he because enough people wanted this be brought forward to Queen's Park, he brought it forward and he said it in Queen's Park. He put it on the agenda. He spoke what these people want this, blah blah blah, and he gave their point of view. That, I believe, is what a member of any house must do, regardless if that's what you believe or not. If your people push that, but does it affect anything? Well, I think we still have a trusteeship type of government where you trust this person to make the right decision. And I believe he attempted to make the right decision. Was it right? Was it not? I guess it depends what side of that argument you're on. I believe it.
We talked about this on the B side.
Yes, on the B side.
On the B side, the deep cuts.
But I believe he did. I believe he. Well, I guess it all depends how. First of all, when it comes to like stuff like spring bear hunt, is it when you go hunting, or is it the amount of tags you give out? Anyways, that's a whole different debate.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it. So you're asking, does it help to contact your representation? As a personal person? So if you call your representation and say, hey, this is my issue, I think as a one person, I don't think your voice is loud enough. I think it has to be a group. And think about it. It's
petition.
Like yeah. I think that's what has to be, because you bring that forward and, hey, if there's enough people who think this, then it gets brought up. Then from there, it gains traction, blah, blah, blah. I think that's what it needs to be. One voice is not enough. It's a group of voice. It's not the weak twig. It's the mighty faggot that is strong together.
Not the weak twig, the mighty faggot.
Yes.
Okay, what's a faggot?
You never watched. That was from Simpsons. It's a bundle of twigs wrapped together. It's called a faggot.
Really?
Yes. I think Martin mentions that in Simpsons.
Really?
Yes. I think he gets beat up immediately after saying that, but yeah.
Simpsons with their gay bashing.
Hey, something.
Anyways, no, that's interesting to know though, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who think, I'm going to call my MP and he's going to make a difference. He's going to, fix this problem for me. Like they're the ones who tell the cops what to do, and what it's. I don't know. It's a frustrating to say the least when you feel like you don't really have any influence, and that's where people say things like, "Oh, I thought we lived in a democracy." Yeah. Well. Anyways, looks like we've been talking for just over an hour. So you want to shut her down?
I might as well. So I think that was a good attempt.
I think so too.
Yeah. I looking forward. I hope you had the camera on this time.
I did actually
put that on. But no, I think this is decent. I think we can start looking at our next one as maybe have someone sit down with us, chat with us.
Yeah, we're going to be looking to have guests, and if anybody's interested in reaching out to us to be our guest on the show or anything like that, I mean, feel free to hit us up on Facebook. You got Jason Boissonneau and Corey McGee, and should be fun. Anyways, you want to sign off?
I don't have a sign off developed yet.
Sign on, but not a sign off.
Oh, do we even have a sign? I didn't know if I even had a sign on.
You did the Howard Stern thing.
Well, no, you can't imitate. You have to do your own. But I don't think I have a sign off. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening, and thank you very much.
Next time.